Are you making pretzels or bread shaped like a pretzel? That deep color, that chewy crust, that classic pretzel flavor. None of that comes from the dough. Traditionally, pretzels use a lye bath, which is why a lot of people avoid making pretzels at home in the first place. That's what creates the signature crust before they even hit the oven. But you don't actually need it to get similar bakery results. Today, I'm going to show you how to use a simple alkaline bath made from baking soda to get that same deep color, flavor, and texture safely at home. Once you see the difference, it's hard to go back. Hi friend, come on in. I want to get started on my dough before working on the baking soda. This recipe makes 6 pretzels, enough to enjoy but not enough to overwhelm. In a large bowl, add 270 grams of flour, about 2¼ cups, 1 teaspoon of instant yeast, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Hold back a little bit of flour for kneading and to prevent a dry dough should your flour not need as much hydration as mine. It's easier to add flour than to add water. To this, add 180 grams of water, about 3/4 cup, and an optional 1 tablespoon of butter. The butter gives the pretzels a softer crumb, but it will initially inhibit gluten formation, requiring extra kneading to get a smooth, elastic dough. Bring this together and either let the dough rest for 5 to 10 minutes before kneading, or continue kneading until the dough becomes smooth and elastic. The rest reduces the kneading time a little. Once it reaches that point, place the dough in a lightly oiled bowl and cover. Allow to proof in a warm place for about 1 hour or until doubled. While the dough is rising, it is time to work on the alkaline bath. Place a 1/4 cup of baking soda on a foil-lined pan and bake at 250 Fahrenheit or 110 Celsius for 1 hour. Lye is a very strong base, strong enough that precautions need to be taken, gloves and safety glasses, as well as something to protect clothes against accidental splashes. Baking soda is a weak base, which means it doesn't raise the pH enough to create that deep pretzel crust. It doesn't quite get the job done, and pretzels will be pale even if dipped in a baking soda bath. But if you bake baking soda, you convert it from sodium bicarbonate to sodium carbonate, which raises the alkalinity and lets the surface brown faster in the oven. Not as strong as lye, but strong enough to get the effect we want without having to source food-grade lye. This is great for home cooks looking to make the occasional batch but still wanting a more authentic pretzel finish. Once your dough has risen, it is time to shape it. There are plenty of options here. Traditional, pretzel rolls, bites, sticks. What shape do you enjoy the most? Let me know in the comments or the community poll if you're team classic pretzel, bites, rolls, or sticks. I will be making traditional pretzels, but feel free to make what you want. Divide the dough into 6 equal portions and roll them into a rope. The dough will only roll out so far before the gluten will begin to resist and spring back. Stop there and allow the dough to rest and the gluten to relax. By the time all 6 pieces have been shaped, the first one should be ready for another stretching. In all, you want the rope to be about 24 inches or 60 centimeters long. If it shrinks back while shaping, just let it rest again briefly. To shape, place a log in front of you and bring the sides in to form a U shape. Twist the 2 arms over each other twice. Now bring the arms down to the bottom of the U and press them into the bottom. You might need to tug the loops up a little, but this is your basic pretzel shape. Another way to do this is to pick up the rope and give it a twist around itself. Set the bottom of the U down and press the ends into the middle. This requires a little more coordination to only get 2 twists, but does go slightly faster. Place the pretzels on a lined baking sheet, cover, and allow to proof about 30 minutes. They should look puffy, but not overly proofed. After about 15 to 20 minutes, preheat the oven and prepare the alkaline bath. In a non-reactive pot, add about 6 to 8 quarts or liters of water and the 1/4 cup of baked baking soda. Add the powder to the water, not water to powder. This helps prevent clumping and reduces the chances of splashing. It is important to take safety precautions even with a base that isn't as strong as lye. This will still react a little with water. Give that a stir and begin heating to a simmer or gentle boil. Preheat the oven to 425 Fahrenheit or 220 Celsius. Carefully place the pretzels in the water and gently boil for about 15 seconds on each side. This coats the surface in that alkaline solution and gelatinizes the surface, which is what creates the crust and color in the oven. When placing in the water, drop away from you to minimize splashing on yourself. Drain briefly and place back on the lined sheet pan. If you have pretzel salt, add that now. If not, add a flaky salt or kosher salt. Go light on the kosher salt because it distributes differently than pretzel salt and can make bites unevenly or overly salty. Place your pretzels in the oven for about 12 to 15 minutes to finish cooking. Baked baking soda is close enough, but it will be lacking that characteristic shine that lye gives to pretzels. If you want to simulate that effect, brush your pretzels with an egg wash before adding the salt. This helps enhance browning and adds shine since we're not using lye. Use a well-beaten egg and a small splash of water for your egg wash to ensure it goes on smoothly. Now, instead of bread that just looks like a pretzel, you've got that deep color, chewy crust, and classic flavor. Pretzels at home are amazing, especially fresh from the oven. Enjoy this with a cheese sauce or mustard sauce. And if you have a favorite pretzel dip or variation, leave it below. I'm always looking for new ways to enjoy favorite foods. So, if your pretzels were coming out pale before or you couldn't source food grade lye, try baking your baking soda.